2024 meeting of the Recreation and Education Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Bartholomew McCoy. Here. Ms. Bartholomew McCoy is present. Chairman Baines.
Here.
Chairman Baines is present. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman is present. Ms. Hasman. Here. Ms. Hasman is present. Mr. Johns. Here. Mr. Johns is present. Mr. McCabe. Here. Mr. McCabe is present. Mr. Sinclair. Present. Mr. Sinclair is present.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone present who has not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Hearing none, Pat Gooch, Senior Planner for the Monroe County Planning and Development Department, will now give a brief overview of the 2025-2030 Capital Improvement Program as it pertains to the Recreation and Education Committee.
Thank you, Chairperson Baines. You should all have a copy of the recommended 2025-2030 CIP. This report reflects the culmination of an 11-month process beginning in late summer with departments proposing a 6-year funding plan for capital projects. A committee reviews the proposed projects and requires changes based on project priority and fiscal constraints on the program. After review by the county executive, the CIP is submitted to the county planning board. The planning board reviews the CIP, holds a public hearing, and sets priorities for the capital budget year, which is the first year of the CIP, in this case 2025. The planning board returns the draft CIP to the county executive, who then submits the recommended CIP to your honorable body. At the June meeting of the legislature, you will set a public hearing for July, and then, upon your favorable review, vote to adopt the plan. There are no funding approvals associated with taking action on this referral. There are 4 sections of the CIP pertinent to the committee: Monroe Community College, the Monroe County Library System, parks, and the zoo. Monroe Community College's funding plan, which begins on page 16, contains 7 projects, one of which is new. Note that all county funding for MCC is matched by the state. MCC's program accounts for 7% of the total capital program. Turning to the Monroe County Library System on page 25, Monroe County Library is an association of autonomous local public libraries working together to provide library services for residents of Monroe County. The system's requests for capital projects are limited to system-wide service, such as maintaining the automation of library services and the trucks that carry books from one library to another. These projects will be funded with county cash. The library program accounts for nearly 0.24% of the total capital program. The 6-year program for county funding of the Parks Department and Seneca Park Zoo begins on page 61. The general rhythm for the Parks Department is to update a master plan and then design and implement recommendations from the master plan update. These recommendations usually include accessibility improvements, trail rehabilitation, lighting upgrades, and similar projects. At times, like all facilities, needs arise that are unforeseen or need to advance to ensure further issues do not occur. There are 13 parks projects in the CIP, with 2 new projects introduced. The Parks program accounts for 2.72% of the recommended capital program. The zoo is housed within the Monroe County Parks Department. In the 2025-2030 CIP, the zoo has 1 new project added to the 2030 year, the last year of the 6-year cycle. The zoo accounts for just over half of a percentage point in the 2025-2030 CIP. I'll be happy to take questions when you get to this item on your agenda. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Gooch. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the March 25, 2024 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. Next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 24-0163. Adopt the 2025-2030 Capital Improvement Project.
Moved by Legislator Bartholomew McCoy, seconded by Legislator Hasman. Discussion.
When were these projects cost estimates for the CIP completed, and how confident the administration is that it's going to stay within 10% of the cost shown in the proposal?
Through the chair, the departments submit the projects on a rolling basis during the 6-year cycle. With this, they update the numbers aggressively in the first capital budget year to make sure those numbers are accurate for bidding purposes, but throughout the entire 6-year program, they update the numbers as they believe they've changed.
Thank you. And through the chair, were any projects in this portion of the CIP delayed, downsized, canceled? And can you provide the list of those?
Through the chair, yes, we can provide a list of those.
Thank you. And through the chair, what new projects were added to this portion of the CIP?
Through the chair, there are 27 new projects added to the 2025-2030 CIP. As I mentioned, there's one related to the Seneca Park Zoo, 2 related to parks, 1 related to Monroe Community College, and those are the projects that are pertinent to this committee.
Thank you.
Steve, those projects are denoted in italics and bold, are they not, in the CIP?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Any other discussion? Legislator Johns.
In regards to the zoo, this may be a little outside the budget, but what is our latest estimation of what it's going to cost for the upgrades and the expansions at the zoo? How much has the Zoo Society raised so far? And, how is that project looking?
Through the chair, so currently we are in the process of doing redesign. The goal of DES and Parks together is to keep the project within the original authorization of funding, which is a little over $100 million total. We expect design to be finalized, or start, I should say, at the end of the year, and we'll be coming back to your honorable body for the award of engineering contracts to provide those services. As far as where the Zoo Society is, can you, well, we'll have to provide the information about where the Zoo Society is with their fundraising right now.
Sure, thank you so much.
Any further questions? Bless you. God bless. Yeah, I have a couple questions. Is the money that we put out for the zoo project, is that reflected in the current CIP or is that outside the CIP?
Through the chair, that is outside of this version of the CIP. It is in previous versions of the CIP.
So it will come back online once we've decided that we're going to reactivate it? It'll be in next year's CIP, for instance?
Through the chair, no, those funds were previously approved and will not show back up in this version of the CIP or any future versions of the CIP.
Okay, thank you. And also, on page 16, the new program at Monroe Community College Services for Students Renovation, $5 million plus in 2026 and $5.2 million in 2027. What generally, just in a sentence or two, does that entail, that project?
Through the chair, just to clarify that that's actually not a new project. This project has been delayed as the ATC project was advanced. So maybe it's inadvertently shown as a new project, but basically it's to provide a holistic or a kind of one-stop shop for students that are coming to college, that they don't have to go to a bursar in one building, go to a counselor in another building, and have it all in a localized area that makes it a lot easier for the students to progress through the system.
So we wouldn't be building a new building on a new footprint. We would be reorganizing space we have for that?
Through the chair, yes, that's correct. I can't remember exactly what building it is, but it's consolidating everything in an existing building, in Building 6.
And what does optimized campus wayfinding, and just in a sentence or two, which is coming online in 28 and 29 at MCC, what does that mean?
Through the chair, that's basically signage around the campus, so as people either drive in, they have an idea of which way they have to go to park, but then also once they're on foot, that they can get around to the different buildings within the campus more efficiently.
So that's really connected to enhancing pedestrian safety as well and connectivity.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your very direct answers. Any other questions before we vote? Follow up? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Next item.
Referral 24-0164, acceptance of a grant from the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation for the Snowmobile Trails Grant and Aid Program and authorized contracts with Hilton Snow Flyers, Inc., Webster Ridge Runner Snowmobile Club, Inc., Salmon Creek Snowmobile Club, Inc., and Hill Gully Riders, Inc. for the development of and maintenance of trails.
Moved by legislator Bartholomew McCoy, seconded by legislator Delvecchio Hoffman. Any discussion?
Is this grant and the contract's dated for April of 2023 to March 24? Is that correct?
Through the chair, Tom Morrissey from Parks. This grant follows the state fiscal year. It's really a state grant that's a pass-through through the Monroe County.
Great, thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Next item.
Referral 24-0165, acceptance of a grant from the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York for the State and Municipal Facilities Program for renovation of the Colby Pulver House in Northampton Park.
Moved by legislator Bartholomew McCoy, seconded by legislator Hasman. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, please.
Referral 24-0166, acceptance of a gift from the Rock Monday Cyclists and family and friends of Gordon Robinson of a bicycle rack for Powder Mills Park.
Moved by legislator Bartholomew McCoy, seconded by legislator Hasman. Any discussion? A brief comment from me. I formerly represented Powder Mills Park. I don't anymore, but what a wonderful thing to pay tribute to a person by a family and friends. And it sounds like a really nice gift, so I just want to express to the givers of the gift our deep appreciation. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Next item.
Referral 24-0184, amend the 2024 operating budget to appropriate library fund balance to provide an increase in funding for the Monroe County Library System MiFi loan program.
Moved by legislator Bartholomew McCoy, seconded by legislator Delvecchio Hoffman. Discussion. Yes, legislator McCabe.
Through the chair, the referral states that the ECF program ends on June 30th, 2023. Is this supposed to say 2024, or have they not had the program since last June?
Through the chair, the referral states that City Council is providing funding for June 23 through June 24, and then this funding would go for a one-year period through June 25.
Okay.
Sure, go ahead, legislator.
Through the chair, could you explain, give us a little bit of detail on the MiFi program? For example, how long the loans are for, and do all of the devices get returned? Are they in satisfactory condition, et cetera?
It's our understanding that the MCLS board meeting is happening right now and ran long, so we don't have a representative from the library, so we will get you that information in writing.
Awesome, thank you. I yield.
Reminds me, I should declare my interest. My daughter's on the board. So, one of them. Go ahead, legislator Sinclair.
It looks like we
You have a number of devices that were damaged last year or not returned?
Through the chair, we will get you that information in writing.
Thank you. Yield.
County Attorney Bringawat, we may have a representative here. Hi there. We have a few questions about the MiFi program. Just, you could step right over here with Attorney Smith. Yes, if you could just, then we can drill down, share with us any metrics you have about the usage of the MiFi program, how our device is loaned out, are they returned, what shape are they in? These are some of the questions that we've had.
Yep, of course. Just to introduce myself, I'm Katie Hasselwander, the manager of library finance. I don't have the amount of damaged items, but we can get that back to you. We are currently have about 300 checkouts as of a few weeks ago, and we are hoping to increase it to 400 checkouts. So that means somebody can check out a MiFi unit for up to 3 weeks, and then they can bring it back. We're able to disable them if they do break or are lost or stolen, so then they're essentially a piece of plastic that can't be used. We have some metrics on usage that I can share to the legislature, but we are looking at about 7,900 checkouts in the last year.
Good, thank you. I yield.
Any other discussion? The MiFi program kind of came into being during the pandemic. Have we seen a change in the trajectory or trend of usage relative to the MiFi program?
We, so far for 2022, had about 2,600 checkouts, 2023, 3,400, and as of last week for 2024, we're at about 1,800, so it seems to be on trend and not a large decrease or increase from the pandemic.
I suppose it wouldn't be a right to track the identity of the users, but is it kind of their privacy? But do we have a sense of how many of them are students?
I will have to
Something we
get
can
that.
talk about? I mean, if you
Yeah.
can't talk about it, it's okay, but.
I know we can't disclose the exact patrons, but I can work with our automation team to see if there's any other information. We have it by zip code. And so we could also look at zip codes for some of the students, particularly at certain schools.
That would be interesting.
I think that at the meeting of the whole legislature, there may be questions because a lot of the legislators are interested in how services interface by zip code. So you could answer them maybe at the, any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, please.
Referral 24-0186, authorized contracts with vendors for 2024 community festival support.
Moved by legislator Bartholomew McCoy, seconded by legislator Hasman. Any discussion? Legislator McCabe.
Through the chairman, thank you, sir. To the administration, can we get a list of all the festivals that were not approved in this referral or those that received under the $20,000 threshold?
Through the chair, yes. I'm not sure if there were. Yes, we will get you that.
Awesome. And through the chair, are all of the 26 festivals, including the 2024 community festivals program, family friendly, or will any of them have age restrictions in place? You can get that to me.
Through the chair, we will get that information to you.
Thank you. I yield.
Want to know if they're letting in like old gray-haired people?
Exactly. I want to know if I can get in.
Okay, all right, okay. Fair enough.
or if I have to take you.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. And opposed? Motion carries. That's it. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? There being no other matters, the May 20, 2024 meeting of the Recreation Education Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Recreation Education Committee will be held on Monday, June 24, 2024 at 6 p.m.